5 areas as a framework.
The philosophy about life.
Your good time ratio would be the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. It's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be here.
One thing that you want to point out.
This philosophy of aligning your actions towards a goal that you actually satisfied with. Most adults don't experience this ever again. And that doesn't have to be. I made it to my mission to help people to truly love their lives. The tragedy could be that one day in 10 years maybe, you're at a point where you just really love your life and you're looking back and say, I almost gave up on it. And someone comes to you and says, because of you, my life changed. That feels pretty meaningful.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you
and
for the invitation.
I can say it was like a very interesting morning. Like, you know, those moments where you just meet someone and you start talking like for a long time, and you don't know and you don't even know the guy's name. Yeah. So like today was kind of like that kind of day, I guess.
Yeah.
So I will allow you like to. I will let you to do the introduction yourself. Like, who are you? What's your background? Just tell us something about. Like, tell me actually something a little bit more about yourself.
Okay. How do I frame this? I mean, it's what you explained me, what you want to achieve with the podcast, like giving different perspectives of how to live a life. I want to start with introducing myself not in the conventional way of who I am by giving me a job title, because I never felt like a job title represents who you are. So I could give a rough introduction, like I come from Germany, so on paper I'm German. I'm a PhD candidate. I am an entrepreneur, and I'm a traveler. But generally, I think actually I'm just a curious kid. So I am fascinated about life. I had my ups and downs in life, but I'm fascinated about what life has to offer. And I think it's up to me and up to us to explore life, to live it to its best. So life is a gift, so I'm an explorer. I think that meets it the best.
So to round it up, a curious kid that likes exploring, and now it's not a kid anymore. He's a big guy, I guess, but he's still a kid inside.
Yeah, very much. I just learned more, and I just take more responsibility than a child is taking. Yeah, my actions have consequences, and I'm aware of that. And I also know that it's not someone else's job to pull me out of a situation when I navigated myself into it. So just like a kid, I'm playing, but with having in mind that my actions have consequences. But I'm also not addressing it from a negative perspective, like if I'm doing this, then things could go wrong. I'm more thinking like, yeah, partly things could end up in a situation that I don't really appreciate. However, I also know that if I do certain things, then I'm ending up in a situation I'm looking forward to. And that's my primary source of motivation, that I am moving forward towards stuff, towards things that I'm feeling like, this is amazing to be there. And if I'm failing along the way, well, try it a second time. But it happens, I'm learning from, but I'm getting closer.
Nice. Yeah. Closer to what though?
I defined the goal of life to maximize good times. So it's not really a static goal where I'm saying, when I have achieved that, then I'm happy. I think that's not really how life works. And this happiness doesn't last long. I think if you're aiming to get to a goal just to be then happy, your driver comes from an energy of scarcity, comes from a point of, I don't have enough right now, so I need to be there and then I'm good. Then I'm not having pain. But for me, it's more like, I want to make the best out of every moment. So right now I have a really good time. So in 1 hour, I'm going to have a different situation, but I make the best out of that time. So my goal is to keep my good times as high as possible.
Quite a deep, like where do I start? Okay, so I like it how your style of communication is like very thoughtful, very like you pay attention, like very close attention to which words you choose to say. So I can say that you're like very precise in what you say, and what you said was like very meaningful and like very deep. I guess like what you just said needs a little bit of processing, you know, because
Yeah,
it's not
perhaps.
like something easy to just like. "How's your
Absolutely,
day?"
it's not. I mean, I'm dropping this out for years, and the majority didn't really get it, what I'm talking about. So I'm now putting more content out, more explanations, talk about the same principle, like it's in every philosophy. Basically, there's always one message behind. In my case, philosophy is maximizing good times. Call it the good time philosophy. Okay. Just like in the Bible, there's one message, but it's framed with so many stories that you get that message from very different angles. So if it doesn't make click right away, that's completely normal. So, but maybe you can step into the shoes of your audience, or the audience resonates with you. Whatever you heard from that big picture introduction, where is the gap that you don't fully understand, and then I can just address that one.
It's not like a gap. It's like we're talking about few different things and like a big area. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of lost in, let's say, what we're specifically talking about, because we touched on very deep things, but like there were like few of them.
Yeah.
So like, how would we make this a little bit simpler to understand, you know, like let's just start with one thing, I guess.
Okay.
So if like there was like one thing that you wanted to stay out of this conversation, like out of all the things that you told me, what would be like the number one thing that you want to point out?
But what I like to point out is this idea, this philosophy of aligning your actions towards a goal that you're actually satisfied with, towards a goal that actually resonates with you and you want to be there. So let me clarify this or make it more concretely. So I think the goal of life is to have maximized good times. Imagine you have a 24-hour day and half of the day you're doing something you hate. On the other half, you're doing something you love. So your good time ratio would be 50%. So your goal would be to increase it. That you just don't have 50%, but that you have 80%.
So let's take like a quick pause here. So just to sum it up, we're talking about philosophy of life and philosophy of living, and there are quite a few philosophies intermixed and a few different philosophical aspects for what you're saying here. But to make it simpler, it's the philosophy about life and making like turning that into something that you can measure, which is in our case happiness.
Yes.
Is it happiness or satisfaction?
I wouldn't call it happiness, neither satisfaction.
Okay.
I would call it good times.
Good times.
Good times is the summary of all positive experiences.
The philosophy of good time
Pardon?
turned into statistics, or so the philosophy of good times, right?
Yeah.
Turn into something measurable.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about that. I think that kind of gives a very simpler perspective of looking through and understanding the conversation itself that we're having.
Yeah. What I'm always like to emphasize is that before you do anything, especially if you put efforts in, especially if it's causing discomfort, are you clear about what are you doing this for? What is your desired outcome? What are you aiming for? So I think for a lot of us, it's like we go to work and maybe we don't enjoy work. But why do we go to work? And because I get some resources. Or maybe I've been told to do it and I get acknowledgement. But the point is, even though resources like money or the acknowledgement is just a mean to an end, the end is for you to actually have a positive experience, that you feel that your energy is flowing, that you enjoy that. In other words, you have a good time. You like to be in that situation that results out of your actions. So if you work and you have some wealth accumulated, then you like to be in the situation to have wealth. So you're attracted by this. For someone else, this doesn't really matter, but this person wouldn't run to work. But I think in our society nowadays, so many people run blindly into directions and do things blindly without really understanding, why am I actually doing this for? So before I'm explaining the measurable aspect behind that, it's very important that we have clarity about what is the goal. Because you can measure profit, but maybe it doesn't really mean anything to you. And maybe more profit doesn't really make your life better.
So you're saying like understanding deeply the motivation behind your own actions. Like for example, you go for work, you get money, but is money actually what you're seeking from that job, or is it like security?
Perfect.
Is it recognition? Is it like skills? What is it for you? Like what is it that you want to gain from what you're doing?
Yeah.
So that's what you're actually saying.
That's what I'm saying, and this is super important that you have clarity about why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I get this, I gain something from it. Whether it's for future assets, like more recognition in the future or whatever, or in the very moment. I say, right now I get acknowledgement and that's what I needed today. But even acknowledgement and even money is just a mean to an end for you to experience a time you want to be in. That your very moment is for you enjoyable. That this very moment is the moment you say, I'm attracted to be here. I'm not running away from this moment. If I had a choice, I would be exactly here right now. And I want to be here. So whatever I'm doing gets me, is basically supporting this idea of whether making this very moment to such a precious moment or a longer and bigger moment in the future to such a precious moment. So maybe you're sacrificing a couple of hours a day to do something you don't really enjoy, but only with the hope that you have more hours in the future that you do enjoy. And that's the philosophy behind the good time philosophy, that you say, I'm on a journey to maximize my good times, and I'm doing trade-offs along the way that I'm balancing that in total, my good time ratio of life, of my 80 years lifetime, or maybe 100 years, that more than half of my lifetime is definitely better than worse.
Yeah. Okay, so I can say like from aspect of virtues, like Greek philosophers, you want to be at the right time, doing the right thing, being just virtuous and like making virtuous decisions.
I would.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
But also, you come from a like very stoic also like philosophy. So I like how like you like get like different things from different philosophies and kind of like make your own philosophy about life, and you're just like making it simpler for yourself and like giving yourself purpose, giving yourself a mission in life, like giving yourself like a clear direction that you're like driving your ship, like sailing your ship of your life to a point that you're certain about. So it's interesting how you combine different things, and you have your own philosophy that works for you based on your needs, based on your wants, based on who you are as an individual. So I think that's something big.
Yeah, the good time philosophy, even though I made it up.
So we have a name, the good time philosophy.
The good time philosophy. I mean, I made it up more or less, distilling it through observations and through research, but it's not so new after all. So, I mean, the Greek philosophers of Stoicism, they called it eudaimonia, which basically is nowadays translated into happiness, but that's not an accurate translation. Because eudaimonia means more like a moment of flow, of energy flowing, and moment to moment to moment to moment. And yes, I'm agreeing with the Stoic philosophy of partly to the aspect where concentrate on the stuff that's within your control, and don't waste your energy on the stuff that's out of your control. So learn from the past, but don't let your past train you down. Aim for the future, but don't be concerned about the future because it's not there yet. Then improve. Take relationships seriously, but don't be upset around your someone else's behavior,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's not your control. What's within your control is your behavior, your
I kind of
reactions.
see a pattern here in the things that you're doing and like saying. So it's kind of like you constantly have this opinion, like this perspective of non-binary. Was it like non-binary opinion? Like where you're not like this is good or bad, but this is. And you can see it as good, you can see it as bad, but you can see it as it is. And I can say like all these things that you just mentioned, you know, it's like good and bad. Like be serious, but not that much, you know.
That's not really what I mean.
But okay, if that's not what you mean, what about like a simple word like balance? Balance between things. And that's kind of like where you find the sweet spot between two different things that you're talking about. Like the balance in everything. Like for example, like you do certain action, like let's say pretty simple, you go to the gym, right? You need to go to the gym, but not as much, you know, so you have like the desired output. If you do it too much, it's bad, but if you do it too little, it's still bad. So you kind of have to find like a very fine line in the middle where the two things actually meet, and that's where you find what's real, let's say.
I think it's about making conscious choices and acting consciously. So going to the gym and going too long or too little, if it's good or bad, there is no such objective thing as good or bad. But I think there's only something that is supportive towards a goal or is destructive towards a goal. And that's why I said it's so important to define the goal. What is the outcome? What are you aiming for? And if you say, my goal is to have as much money as possible, or my goal is to get as much recognition as possible for my work, then yeah, working over hours and pleasing your boss is very helpful. But if your goal is to have a healthy body, if your goal is to have peace inside of you, then yeah, not working at all and you're in financial struggles is not really helpful. That's harmful. Working too much, on the other hand, that you're stressed out, is also harmful because then you're not having peace. So the too much or too little, good or bad, highly depends on what your goal is. And I think the goal of any human is to maximize good times. I mean, that's the modern wording for what you and me understand. As I said, ancient Greeks called it eudaimonia. There's different ways, but it's basically you to have a smoothly flowing life and being in situations you're attracted to. To be more concrete, I actually made a framework. I distilled 5 areas of a human life that affect human satisfaction. There's not really anything more or less, at least we didn't get anything else.
So let me get this clear. You kind of have like a structure that's, let's say, the most responsible things for good times. Maybe not everything it is, but if you focus on these 5 things, you kind of have like a formula for good time, right?
We have a framework.
Okay, so it's different.
And
so
within this framework, there are elements, there are variables. So you can play around with those variables, but all of those variables actually take place in a bigger equation. And this bigger equation is a framework where human biology takes place. So to be concrete, this framework, there's 5 human areas where satisfaction can affect you, is yourself. So let me explain it differently, more easy. Imagine life is a game. Then there's a player, you're the player. So that's the self. There are other players, that's social environment. Then you can take actions, you can play. That's your actions, area of actions. Then you can get stuff, maybe gold coins or life points or energy up or whatever, recognition, and that's what you get,
Like
what you receive,
points.
What you receive from the outside. And then you have an habitat, a playground, the playground where all of this takes place. So again, yourself, others, your actions, what you get, and where you are. So those 5 areas, in those 5 areas your whole life takes place.
Okay, can I turn this into like a fun game? So
Absolutely.
for example, when you have a game, you have the main character.
Yeah, that's probably you in your life.
And then you have NPCs. and players mixed in the NPCs.
Yeah.
So you have NPCs, you have monsters, you have other players, like other characters, but you have you have the main character, which is you, then you have NPCs and like other players surrounding you, then you have actions, like things that you want to do. It can be quests.
Yeah.
And there's like rewards from the quests, which is you get more vitality, like you get more health points, get like you lose stamina or whatever. And then lastly is the map that you're playing on, like the lobby that you are.
Correct.
So this is not just a game in a way, right?
That is a game.
Nice.
Yeah. The quest, I want to put a comment on that. The quest is not really your action. The quest is the mission you're on that gives you a direction, what you're actually doing here, otherwise you feel the whole game is purposeless. Yet, the quest just gives you a direction. It tells you, play this level, do this, whatever. But your goal as a player, and that's a little bit hidden, your goal when you're playing this game is not to finish the quest. That's just the claim of this game, that you need to achieve this. But your intrinsic motivation to play this game in the first place is not to finish a random made-up mission.
Yeah.
Your goal is to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
So the game is shit the moment you don't have fun.
Yeah.
So in that moment you say stop. Yeah. Well, the thing with life is pressing stop is not really an option.
Is it?
I've been at that point in my life, and I contemplated on this, and I thought well, maybe I just play it wrongly. So let's play it differently. And that's why I said stopping this game is not an option for me. But it was.
But you've been around that decision.
I've been there for a long time. And I said, no, I'm not accepting that this is the way this game has to be played. I'm not accepting that this is all there is to explore. So I said, let's try something else, something no one taught me. But I'm not giving up until I have fun, until I love my life again. So I made my mission some years ago, and I clarified that I traveled to multiple countries, I took time off, I didn't connect with anyone, I was reflecting a lot, did a lot of meditation, a lot of workout, I got my body in an ideal health. And with a lot of calmness, I distilled what really matters to me. I found my mission where I'm saying, I would be driven by that mission in any situation I'm not fulfilled, but I also would be driven to continue this mission when I'm fulfilled, because I don't see anything more meaningful in my life than doing this one thing. That's my quest. That's my game. And along the game, I want to have a good time.
Can you say that your passion in life is having a good time in life?
No, my passion in life is to help others to love their lives, to truly love their lives. So where whoever is in a job situation and say, the job is okay. Do you love your job? Do you like your job? It's okay. Well then, no, it's not. It's not okay. You're just tolerating it. You're not loving your life. So, but I'm pretty sure most people once had an experience in their childhood where they woke up, maybe in the Western societies, where they woke up on a Christmas morning and just have fun, want to run around.
Yeah.
That's being alive. Your body tells you, hell yeah, let's go. And having this feeling lost, I mean, most adults don't experience this ever again. And that doesn't have to be. So I made it to my mission to help people to truly love their lives again, that they wake up again and say, hell yeah, to be awake and to be alive.
So to put everything together, I would say you have the tools but to help or to teach someone have a good time in life and have good time with life and be alive.
To love their lives.
To love their lives.
I'm clarifying their goals with them, not for them. Their goal is their goal. I can't tell you, hey, you need a wife to be happy. Who am I to tell you?
That's where like the framework comes in. So you have like this framework, this structure, this set of principles, let's call it. Can we call them principles? Or just framework?
The 5 areas is a framework. And I didn't even come up with that. I just clarified it. I just distilled it.
Okay.
That's human. That's a human playground. And that's where you can act. And all of those things affect your satisfaction. If you hate what you do, but you do something every day, then well, you can't reach 100% good times.
I still cannot stop thinking about like a certain moment when you were speaking about something. And I feel like there was like a specific nerve there that I would like to, if you're okay with it, just
Absolutely.
like uncover a bit more about it. So we know what you're trying to do, what you want to do in life,
Yeah.
and like what's your goal. But I want to understand a little bit more why, in terms of, I want to understand you a bit more, like get to know you better. Like,
Yeah.
So when you said something about you've been there in life where
Yeah.
you wanted to stop the game,
Yeah.
can you get, what can you tell me a bit more about that, you know?
So how it came to that point?
Like, can you explain the situation that you were in, like the room, like what was running through your thoughts when you were like, let's say, sitting there in front of the game called life, and you're like, I don't want to play anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a fairly decent place, and I was always told that parts of success is having a good shape, having high education, having money, having friends, having recognition. So the business owners, they were always embraced. And I went to university, I got really good in it. I became the representative of the university. I had good grades. I was very engaged with my interests, so I also made money eventually. And then I built my own company with co-founded back then with some friends. And I recognize that everything is in place, everything is flowing, everything is in place, what I've been told matters. So during that time I had money, I was in a really good shape, I had friends, I even had a girlfriend. I mean, that came later because I thought like it's the last missing piece. I was traveling every week, thousands of kilometers. I got a lot of recognition, and all of that was there. So success, as has been defined, I reached it, check mark behind everything. And then that was the moment when the first time the thought came up. Well, that's basically it, yeah? I mean, I can just juggle those balls endlessly. I think I figured it out how to juggle those balls, and that's not giving me any more satisfaction. It gets empty. But that was the outlook for the rest of my life. Yeah, sure, my business would have become bigger, I would have traveled a little bit more. But at the end of the day, it would have been the same game. And that was pretty unfulfilling. So my dissatisfaction was increasing over time, more and more and more. And at one point, of course, I was very little motivated to put more efforts in it. There was no point. For me, the thought was like, when I'm here and this is running and I can do this the rest of the life just to keep existing until my biology one day makes an error and I die, then I'm basically just just tolerating this lifetime until I die. So there is no point to really be alive if I'm just waiting and just stretching and filling this time until death. Why don't I just end it right now? I said, well, it's not bad though, yeah? It's okay. It's not painful. It's not really nice. It's not really fun. It doesn't excite me, but I mean, yeah, I can exist. But as the driver was getting less and less to move on, at one point, of course, I also didn't perform that well anymore at work. And then slowly the things started to break apart. So now it wasn't just not nice, it was now getting painful. I said like, yeah, but I still didn't get the reason, no one gave me a really good reason to keep living. So this thought was growing. And I didn't see an outlook that would make it better. So I got really into depression. And got out of shape, lost a lot. And eventually I had to move back to my parents' place even. That was a deep fall after that height.
Sounds like a very tough and big burnout, in a way.
In a way, I really hated it. I mean, my sleeping rhythm
but
got
still,
completely
like,
out of shape.
You know, to have everything and tend to say, what's the point of it? This is not even what I wanted.
It's not fulfilling.
Right?
It's not fulfilling at all. And meanwhile, I can explain that. But it wasn't fulfilling at all. So for me back then, it was the question like, shall I end it? Because I was always a guy who made decisions. And when I made a decision, I stick to it. But it was a period where I'm like, not really here, but neither here. Like, no, not really living, but neither really dead. And it was like, okay, Christian, I got to make a decision. So decide. But whatever the decision is, you're going to stick to it. And I had a conversation with my sister, and she gave me an outlook. She said it was something abstract.
You talked about this with your sister.
Of course.
Well. And it was something that you were thinking about constantly.
Yeah, constantly. It was to a point where really, if I didn't actively think of it for 30 minutes a day, it felt like holiday. It felt like a relief. So the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, it's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be here. And so my sister gave me this sentence and said, the tragedy could be that one day in 10 years maybe, you're in a point where you just really love your life and you're looking back and say, I almost gave up on that. And even though she didn't do it, maybe on purpose to plant this, but meanwhile I can tell what actually was in place in that moment. What she did is she gave me an outlook towards something. Like, I never thought of it. It was out of my mind that there is an option that I could love my life. But the moment she said, what if you in 10 years love your life, and you look back and gave almost up on it? I think like, what if there's actually a chance that I love my life? What if I'm actually like to be alive again? And that thought grew a little bit. And after a couple of days...
What if?
What if? Yeah. So after a couple of days, I thought like, what if that's possible? And I just don't see how. Maybe it's just a matter of the how and not a fact that it's not possible. So I said, okay, this whole thing here, the whole way of living, seems not to, isn't the how that gets me there. Mm-hmm. But let me have the courage to believe that it's possible, at least a little bit. And I said, I need to change something. I don't know what I'm changing. And I read this quote, which was quite encouraging. I don't know if when I'm changing that things get better. But in order for things to get better, I need to change. So again, I don't know if it gets better when I change, but in order that it gets better, I need to change. So I said, okay, let's just change radically, and have the courage.
It was like this when you make the decision.
Yeah, but I wanna make this fairy tale stories a little bit demystifying with this, and that in that moment it was just changing everything. It wasn't like this.
It took you like, let's say 6 months or whatever.
It took me much longer.
You were like stuck in this loop, like I don't want to play this game, and like you're looping, and at some point you made one small decision, like asking your sister, like opening up to your sister, and then you started opening up to the world and to different possibilities.
It was really small. It was a seed, and it's not like at that moment everything changed. Yeah, it would be a glorious story to tell it that way, but that's not how life works, I think. In most cases, at least not. I mean, there's so many habits. You're still in an environment.
What about the energy? So not like that you change your life like this, but your world inside.
It didn't change neither, 100%.
What about the energy inside? Like how did you feel after planting that seed?
Still drained. It was heavy. I mean, my whole habits for the last 9 months were degenerating everything. I mean, I was at a point where I used my Segway to go to toilet. It was so lazy to walk. It was my whole habits, my sleeping rhythm, everything was out. So that wasn't like internal world completely changed. It was more like there is a spark, there's a light somewhere in this darkness. So I'm walking towards it, and this light is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but not from one moment on the other. It's a day. I was every day looking for that light and orientating on this light. So after a couple of weeks, I cleaned up a little bit and was more optimistic because the light was shining a little bit brighter. And then I made bolder steps. Then I said, okay, let's get a coach in and create a system and a framework where I need to improve my body, because I knew I need to change my body again. I had pain bending down. Before I went to the gym 6 days a week, and afterwards I had pain to bend down to lift up something. So I knew I need to change something. I was 21. That's not a time for dying.
21?
I was 21 to the time.
Oh, I assumed you were like 26 at
No,
least.
to that time I was 21. I founded my first company with 20 something. And it took a while. And then I didn't have the answers neither fully. Just don't forget that. At that moment, I just had a question of what if, but not I know how it works. So I really needed to look around and say, that didn't work, and I'm making a decision that I literally don't try to make it work. This is just fundamentally not working, this approach. So I'm putting this approach aside. It's not fundamentally working to get in the job to just pay my bills. That's not working. So I need to do something else. And whatever that is, I'm using it as a bonus round. Like, I'm dead already. Now I'm respawn. Now let's make it play differently. And it's funny because a couple of years later, I was in a similar situation again, just bigger. I had a bigger team. I was traveling bigger. I still realized, wait, this is not how I would like to spend my day. But the good thing is, I realized this much faster. In a couple of days, weeks, it was accumulating. I said, oh, wrong direction again. Cut it completely. And my dad back then also multiple times, how can you reject that job offer? I said, yeah, because it's not getting me where I want to go. I mean, I can pursue it. Yes, I'm climbing up a mountain, but that's not the mountain I want to stand on. So I'm not even getting into that direction.
Clarity.
Yeah. So,
but isn't it hard to say no?
Not if you know what you say yes for. It is so easy to say no if you really have so crystal clarity about what you say yes to. It is just incredibly easy.
If you know what you're saying yes to, it's easy to say no to something else.
Absolutely. You always say no to something. Always. That's what most people maybe not understand is every yes to something is a no to something else. And if you say yes to the party, you say no to 100,000 other things you could have done in that moment. What are those other things? And is one of those other things maybe something that gives you a better time for longer? And if this is something that gives you a better time for longer, why would you say no to that and say yes to this little reward? It was just incredibly easy. When I was 15, I started drinking alcohol like everyone in the village. And with 17, I stopped. And it was then when people said, oh, I admire that you don't drink alcohol. I admire you that you don't smoke while we go out on a party. And I never really got that feeling of, oh, wow, someone admires me for this. Because for me, it was just so logical. Because I was in transforming my body. And I had 100,000 reasons for me, very clear, that this is not in my interest. So I said, yeah, it's fine for you. You have a different goal. And for me, it's just no. Because I say yes to something else. So the clarity on where you go, what is important to you, I think this is just incredibly important.
So when we said something in the beginning about responsibility, and every choice we make has a consequence, this is what you meant.
Yeah.
Also like the good part.
Yeah, it connects, definitely.
Nice.
And being aware of having clarity about the choices you make is a game changer. It's a real game changer. Yeah.
Man, well, I feel like we're like coming close to the end of the episode, I guess. But I would like to say, I was very curious to listen to your story about how do I say this? About how you transformed your life, how you got the things that everyone wanted, but at the end you saw that's not what you wanted. That was what society told you that you need to want and need to have in order to be happy, but your happiness is different from, what happiness is branded to be. So this is a story of transforming your life and about seeing through the bullshit. that everyone else says it is, and finding
Yeah.
your own things that matter to you.
Yeah, I think if I can give something to your audience, if they listen to this, and see something inspirational in it, just the way you formulated it is a good point. There's a lot of noise and people tell you or try to sell you, you need this and this is your goal, and when you have it, then you're happy. Our whole society is built around this idea. Our whole economy is built around this idea. You have too little, but if you buy the product, then you're happy. Well, think about the incentive they're having. If you do this, they win, but not necessarily you. So having a healthy, critical mind and saying, I know myself best. And if I don't know myself best, then my job is right now to get to know myself better so that I know what's important for me, what works for me. And when things don't work for me, don't constantly listen to the voices from the outside that tell you, but you need to go that direction. Because the interesting thing, what I found the recent years is, in my research, that I am not alone with that story. I'm not alone with that idea of, or not with the idea, but with the experience of after you achieved something that was promoted as the Holy Grail, that it's actually not really fulfilling you. I interviewed so many millionaires who had the same experience, and it's always the same thing. So I think most of us just fell for a lie of economy and society. And while I'm, with my work, working on to uncover this, to make it clear, like, is this really working for you, or is it just an empty marketing claim? Or is it just a societal promise that no one really reached to validate it? It is yet important for everyone who lives their life to have a bit of self-trust and build self-trust and say, I take a look at myself and can tell if this is not working for me. I don't just keep going because someone else tells me, but when you have it, then you're happy. Look at the person who has it. Does that person have it already or not? Because if that person just tells you, you need to have this $1 million, but has $10 on his bank account, then maybe they don't really know about. So they cannot tell that this is actually bringing the result you're hoping for. And every one of us is navigating their own life. And it's important to navigate it towards a direction that resonates with you, that is really important. Not the surface level of, I want car. No, I want fulfillment. And then making decisions accordingly that work for you.
It resonates. It's like a word that captures it all.
Yeah.
Like no one can know what resonates best with you, because no one can know you better than you know yourself.